Oh hey everyone, I'm doing a bit of an everything video today. I've got a couple of little tags, I believe. I've got a EDC thing I'm going to do, and I'm just going to wrap it up with a few other things that are going on, I guess. So we'll start off. I'm just going to blitz through my everyday carry. I've had a new thing that a couple of folks have asked me about, and yeah, I guess I'll just jump straight into that. I got a new watch, so I got a new. It's a G-Shock, so it's a really old watch actually, but it's the one that I chose. I'm a very simple person with my watch tastes. I generally like them to just tell the time, maybe the date, and that even goes through to my digital watches. There was a few of these I was looking at that had altimeters and just big faces with shit all over them, and this has still got shit all over it on its face. But yeah, it just was a bit more manageable for me. The only thing I don't love about it is some of these buttons are a little bit far recessed, but I guess that's to stop them from accidentally getting hit. So, but yeah, it's just the standard original G-Shock in the blackout. It's one of the, I think it's a newer color or a newer configuration, but the same old watch. The reason is I need to often read out the time at work, and my old Victorinox, well, this is still a great watch, my Alox. Those, I just found myself in the heat of the moment just not quite being able to compute, and it seems really dumb, and it makes me seem like it makes me feel very stupid. Don't worry, you don't have to point it out. But yeah, I just couldn't all of a sudden rattle those off as quickly as I'd like to. So there we go. So yeah, with this one, time is now 9:53 a.m. on the 20th of March 2019. So a bit easier for me, but it is what it is. So there's that. In terms of my other stuff, little has changed in the rest of my carry. So my keys and stuff are still the same. We got a new car, which is the same model as the old car. Should do a car. I'm not going to do a car review. I don't know what I'm talking about. But we got another Mitsubishi Lancer, which are really nice little cars. Very, very simple, very low maintenance. And then we've got a. Everything's the same. So the only real tools I'm carrying on my keys is the sliver grippers, the Amco Bill's very fine tip tweezers, and then my Surefire Titan, which is still just the only light I really have needed to carry for a protracted period of time. It's a great light. It's a yeah, it's a doer. It's a goer. It's a single AAA battery. Haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. Really well put together light. It's a couple of years into it now. Absolutely rock solid. So pretty sure what they say about Surefire is true. Their lights do just work. My wallet, still the Offine Mir leather wallet. It's just one of those one-piece, single line of stitching kind of deals. It's a great wallet. As I always say, I carry a thin wallet because I sit on it in my back pocket, and those thick wallets make my back feel funny if I'm sitting on a big old hunk of wallet all day. So there's that. Knives. Actually, no, pens first. I'm still carrying the EDK from Karis Customs, or still have it, the Render K. Yeah, this was just, I was surprised how much I liked this pen. But Chris, who I got this ages ago from, because I sent him a backpack, I sent this back, and look, it's been absolutely, this used to be this color all over. It's just been absolutely worn out. So, been dropped on the road and had stuff spilled on it, like acidic stuff, and it's just a real solid pen. So these are excellent, the Karis Customs pens. Really, really like them. So there's that too, which is cool. In terms of knives, so right now I'm carrying a couple of knives to review. I'm carrying the Spyderco Stretch to review. I'm carrying the CRKT LCK to review. And I'm also carrying, what was the last one? Oh, I'm just kind of wrapping up my thoughts on the Spyderco Dallara. So, you know what? This is not an available knife anymore. It's been discontinued. So I guess maybe I'll just do a mini review for it now. Look, it's an S30V Spyderco that is quite ergonomic. It's got a nice Spyderco flat ground blade that does a good job slicing, cutting. It's a rescue themed knife, so the tip drops down a little bit more than you're perhaps usually getting on something like the Endura, perhaps. And that is so you can put the knife into someone's pants and then cut up like that. The one thing with this knife, and it could be either the selling point or the breaking point, is the locking system. So the locking system, similar to the Manix 2's lock, except they use this slick pearl-like ball there, and it's quite far recessed in. I like everything else about this knife, well, except for there are two things I don't like about the knife. One, I don't like this big gap here, which I never do. The second, yeah, this ball, it is hard to get into. So the knife opens really smooth, really good smooth opening knife, but to get into it, if you have any degree of slip or sweat on your hands, it's a two-handed job. It really is. It's almost putting a second set of fingers in there and pulling it shut. So because it's not available anymore, I see limited value in me doing, like, taking the time to do a full review, and I've got so many other things I could be reviewing. But it's been an interesting knife. It's a well-made knife. It's a Seiki City Japan knife, which is interesting. It just seemed to me like the build quality seemed almost Tai Chung-ish. But yeah, it's kind of guess probably the Police 4, similar feel to that knife. You know, the G10 feels about the same. This sort of construction here with the, you know, the steel backing and all that sort of thing. Similar to the Police 4 in terms of the construction quality, which was always a fine constructed knife. S30V, wire pocket clip. There's a lot to like here, but then a couple of things I really sort of haven't gelled with, and the main being this lock. I can see what they're trying to do, but just not quite as easy as it could have been. So that's the Delara 3. Not quite the win that I was thinking it might have been. I remember when I saw it when it first came out. When I saw it, I think 2016 or something, in their new releases catalog. I thought, oh, that'll be the one for me. I had a sense that I'd really like it, and I'm not a super fan of it, to be honest. So yeah. That was sent by Dave, who has also sent a whole bunch of the knives I've been testing lately. The Crewwear and the 4V Spydercos, the Skahas, and I've also got a box of mules coming from Dave as well. Mule. Yes, so that should be cool. A lot of different steels. One other thing I've been sort of fiddling around with is this Spyderco Junction. This is a Gale Bradley little fixed blade knife. I always usually have one or two Spyderco fixed blades in my collection. I like them. They're usually a bit weird, a bit different compared to other companies' fixed blade knives. Very niche. I reckon Spyderco's fixed blades would be a very small percentage of their total sales. Don't quote me on that though, but it's just kind of how it feels. This is an interesting one made of PSF27 steel. And PSF27 steel, in case you didn't know, is like it's the same recipe as D2, but it's spray formed. And because D2 is interesting steel, there's a reason. You know how most steels ended up getting a CPM version? D2 did as well. So powdered metals, crucible powdered metallurgy D2. That wasn't a particularly successful steel. That process actually doesn't benefit the way that D2 is effective on things. It makes it too fine and too uniform. D2 does well from having a bit of jag to it, to use very unscientific terms. So what I've heard is that this PSF 27 has the right kind of mix between getting it nice and consistent, but also keeping the things that make D2 cut really well. So I've heard it's very good edge retention. So I'll be interested to see how this one goes. I'll be rust testing it and everything. So that should be a cool knife. It's a really thin little knife. It's about as thin as an Endura. In terms of, actually the handle on the Endura is actually a bit thicker, and the blade thickness is about the same as the Endura as well. So very, very cool. Very thin little knife, and I like it. I like things like this. It's got a low profile bolter-on sheath. Does well. I think it's going to be a nice knife. I think I like it a lot already. So there's that too. So yeah, that's my EDC at the minute. I've been, when I've got the choice of carrying something, when I'm not reviewing anything, I have been carrying around a little chaparral, which, hey, I might do a little review on the FRN chaparral at some point or another, but this is just a great sort of any day carry knife, really good. I like it more than the Dragonfly, I like it more than the Delica. Could be Spyderco's best FRN knife. I don't know, the stretch I'm liking a whole lot as well, and I do love the Enduro too, so who knows, but really, really good blade, the little chaparral. So that's that. In terms of other stuff, I thought I'd rattle out a few. I'll go a bit broader about what else I'm doing at the moment. So in terms of, I watched any good movies lately. I watched The Raid 2 last night. I've seen it before, but they're these Indonesian martial arts movies, The Raid and The Raid 2. Super violent, super brutal martial arts. Just one of those films that you can just kind of watch and enjoy every time. Like a bit like Dread. Do you ever see Dread? That's my favourite film. It's a bit like Dread, but less guns, more just stabbing, killing, cutting, just super violent, but really, really good. And yeah, just very, very snappily directed. So I recommend The Raid or The Raid 2. The Raid 2 is the one I watched last night. Music-wise, I've been listening to a bit of Joji. He used to be a YouTuber called Filthy Frank. He used to make insane, like, fringe, real grimy videos, but then he's moved into a decent, I guess it's decent, but I mean, like, as in, he's made a much more broadly friendly approach to his hip-hop music, which is fun. I'm not usually into hip-hop music, but he's got a certain sort of character to him that I like. So I've been listening to Joji a bit, and then all my classics like the Mars Volta and the Arcade Fire and Future Islands and things like that too. On TV, we've just been rewatching Game of Thrones in preparation for season 8, like every other basic bitch in the universe, I'm sure. But we started with episode 9 of season 6, Battle of the Bastards, which I think is the best episode of the show still. And then moved on through to through season 7, and we've just wrapped it up. So now we're just waiting till the 14th of April or whenever that is. On YouTube lately, there's been some really good YouTube comedy. I would recommend a really good trifecta is Danny Gonzalez, Drew Gooden, and Gus Johnson. Those 3 guys, all 3 of their channels are just really funny. Gus's videos are usually quite short and punchy. And Drew and Danny do sort of the reaction stuff, but to stuff that's just off the wall, stupid. It's just really good. And I would be lying if I said that Gus Johnson wasn't a fair comedic inspiration for my shitty Knife Lab intros. So there you go. On my Nintendo Switch, I've been playing Disgaea 5. I'm a massive Japanese RPG stat crunching nerd when I do play video games, which isn't super common. But I've just been getting through the post game of Disgaea 5, and it's. The best thing about that game is it's designed for you to break it. They're encouraging you, please break our game and do like 1 billion damage to the enemies that have 100 hit points. So lots of stuff. It's super fun. So Disgaea 5 has been the game I've been playing. So yeah, that is that. Next video, next idea is the Pocket Clips. Moose's Gear Goo review tagged me asking about my favorite Pocket Clips, which I can do that. Moose, still computing the channel name, but my favorite Pocket Clips are the deep carry variety, generally. I do prefer to have it go into my pocket as far as I can. I don't need to have it super grabbable. So some great deep carry clips that I like. These 3 here, so you've got the Spyderco wire clip. This clip on the SOG terminus is really good. It's really deep and nice. And then the CRKT. This LCK has a great deep carry clip as well. So you see there, it just goes right into the pocket, no worries at all. Really, really nice. Just 3 really good deep carry clips. I love the wire clip probably the most because it looks just like a pen or something to most folks. It's not, not even eye-catching. Just looks like, the lid of a ballpoint pen or something similar. In Australia, where knife carry is a little bit of a hot potato, like it's... You sort of can, as long as you've got a good reason, and like a good reason isn't, as far as most states are concerned, a good reason isn't just in case I need it, it's like because I'm doing an actual thing with it. And yeah, it's not that there's heaps of people who get caught with knives that don't deserve to get caught with them. Most people get caught with knives and get in the shit for them are people who are either they're banding it around being feral with it, or just being generally shit. So if you don't draw attention to yourself, you're generally fine, but it's just one of those things. Best not to, so I always find the more pedestrian looking clips are the better ones for me, and I think they function really well too. The worst pocket clips I've had, this Viper has a shit pocket clip, this Buck has a pretty shit pocket clip in terms of how it looks, and I also don't love, and this sounds really weird, but I don't love clips that are made with the knife's design in mind. That's such a really funny thing to say, but I would rather you just made a clip that worked and just focus on having a nicer display side of the knife than having we want the clip to go with the knife. Because then they often make concessions about how the clip works to make it sure that it looks good with the knife. This one isn't too bad, but any more sort of sculpted or any more fixed, I am generally not a fan of. So that's probably the type of clip that I like the least, or just when it's absolutely hideous. I think I've done my dash with making fun of the Buck pocket clip. You can see my Buck video for that. And then this clip here is just badly designed because there's a screw here that is catching underneath it. It's a very low profile clip. It's not too bad if it didn't have these screws in here, but the whole assembly of it isn't particularly flash. So that's probably the poorest pocket clip there as well. So yeah, those are my little pocket clip vents there. And lastly, there's one going around at the moment about why you started your channel and when you started your channel and why and what you're doing and all that sort of stuff. I think I've answered this before a few times, but I started the channel. We used to live on a rural property. I was just looking for something to do while my very small children slept. So in 2013, I had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they're both just at home kind of all day. And kids at that age spend fair bits of the day just napping. And yeah, you can sort of clean up and stuff, I guess, while they do, but life becomes pretty mundane unless that's when you need to really start having something else going on. I've always thought you can't just be completely about family or completely about work. You need to have some little thing for yourself to do just to keep, I don't know, just to keep life with a bit of variety. So I started doing, well, the thing was, I was actually using a lot of these tools in a practical and earnest sense out on my block. Like, so I was using fixed blade knives and I was using axes, and it was a good time. And then that kind of moved into pocket knives when I moved back into town just for work. And then, so yeah, now pocket knives are sort of the things that I find more, easier to review and I'm more able to review properly. A great example of this is I've had real trouble reviewing this knife. And my review is more of an apology than a review. This Phobos Legion, it's a survival knife, and just where I'm now in my life isn't particularly like I'm not using something like that at all. I have to actually force conditions for me to use them. So, but anyway, back in the day I didn't have to. So I was a multi-tool fixed blade knife. Axes was where I started. But as my life has changed, so has my tastes. But yeah, I've always been a bit of a creative type. Not that my first probably 100 videos were creative at all. They were just nut and fancy rips of just, mumbling at a tabletop. I think I eventually started putting in some cross editing, some decent shots and stuff as I got better equipment, as I got more familiar with how things worked. And then yeah, I've always been a bit of a, anyone who does YouTube has an ego. I don't, you're a bit of a narcissist if you want everyone to watch you, and you just got to know yourself, And so I've always had that. I've always wanted to make things that people looked at and laughed at, or I've always wanted that kind of attention for sure. But I'm not big on actually mixing with real people, so it's a funny way to be, isn't it? But so yeah, it's rather than ever trying to have a run at stand-up or anything crazy like that, which some folks do, and that's awesome. This is the format that gets me my self-expression. And also gets me my gear nerd fix as well. I think it's very important to have a form of self-expression. People who don't have forms of self-expression generally end up expressing themselves in negative ways, and they're usually the folks that are yelling at people who are making YouTube videos, and you click on them and they've got this channel has no content and 0 subscribers and those sorts of folks. And I would say if you're one of those angry people, you probably just need a way of expressing yourself. It's not everyone's going to do this, but you might do something else. You might like make music or write books or make a webcomic or something like that. It's healthy and it's food for the soul. So that's kind of why I keep doing it. It's why my channel is constantly sort of changing a little bit. Whatever I find funny at any given time, whatever I usually am bundling all the other stuff in my life up into my videos, as weird as that seems because my videos are about knives. But yeah, that's usually, that's why I'm still going. That's why my trajectory has sort of changed into sort of more, I wouldn't say I'm solely for the lols anymore. I still do a lot of information, but it's why I'm generally sprinkling a fair bit of that stuff through my videos because it makes me feel better. But yeah, there is also my still testing that's born from, I have a very sort of numbers based brain, sort of, at least. I'm not a mathematical brain, but I like to know things, of the actual quantities of things. I've never been happy with people just trying to say, because I've been on this forum the longest, my advice is right, or I started as a pretty, unknown knife YouTuber, and I just started doing my thing. Because, I figure if you show it all, then at least people can see how you've drawn a conclusion. So that was maybe even the turning point in my channel where I sort of started to differentiate myself from other people's channels. And I think that was probably, it satisfied me and how I like to know things, how I like to know conclusions have been formed. And then it also satisfied, other viewers as well, which was good. So there was a question that some people were asking: how do we know that these stills are actually good? And I can sort of say, well, I can show you them doing this at least, whether it's just a small piece of the puzzle or not. That's what I can do. So that's why I've started doing that and continue doing that as well. But yeah, it's funny though. Since I've been doing that, heaps more, probably more scientific minds and more, more sort of serious or more, I sort of fancy myself as, I may have been one of the ones that popularized it a little bit, but I think there are actually better and more sort of knowledgeable steel guys out there doing very similar work. So, you know, I'm talking about the Michael Christies of the world, folks like that. So, yeah, it's definitely not the be-all and end-all. And seeing those guys doing it and finding some success doing it as well just makes me really happy too. If I could, I would have 100 other me channels doing the exact same test, and we would be getting some amazing averages. I just probably wouldn't be the one putting them into the spreadsheet, because that's the part where, as my buddy Dave knows, it's the part where I kind of suck. I just can't. I'll do the tests and then they go on the spreadsheet somehow. Magic. Sorry, Dave. But yeah, it's that's the channel. That's why it started. That's why it continues, and that's what I like about it. So I think that's about all for today's video. A bit of a long, chatty sort of thingy, but there we go. Like in the future, you got way more steel testing coming up. I've got this boat here, so I'm hoping to use that for a maritime-based dickhead survival pretty soon. And then I've got yeah, just a whole bunch of new steels on the way and that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll finish off the amalgam artistic video. The dislike game on that one was pretty strong, so I feel like I'm getting my creative jollies through other means. But you know what, I may just finish it off. I've got like half of it done, but I did sort of lose my interest in that just a little bit. See, dislikers, your dislikes actually do matter if they're en masse. The 2 or 3 guys that just insta-dislike, I just kind of ignore those ones. But you know, I think we'd be lying if we're saying we're not keeping track of what is liked and what is disliked. And yeah, when you get a big bulk disliked and not a huge amount of views, that probably will put the nail in something. So anyway, we will see. If there's a great deal of people asking for it, then maybe I'll knock it out. I've got some ideas for it, but that's about it. I thought I would I'm just editing my video right now, and I thought I'd just touch briefly on comments and how they work, because just bringing that one up, I'm like, that's something I guess my response is kind of what I'm thinking. I would say in a more broad sense. So yeah, some people, well, first start, let's talk about how the comments work. So YouTube comments has its own algorithms in it that detects stuff that it anticipates that I wouldn't like. So say that stuff that's like massive comments that would take, that when people expand them are going to like take up, you know, they'll have to scroll heaps far down.
Boring, 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 your commentary boring, everyone who reads it snoring, boring.
So it tries to pick up that sort of thing. So if you're someone who writes essays, then it probably should have just been an email, or just don't worry about it because no one's probably going to read it if it's a huge essay. TLDR will be the case there. So it often puts them in the spam folder. Anything with a link, and I stress this, anything with a link, it will put in the held for review folder. Stop doing this. What? So maybe break it up or write in words www.something.com if there's something that you desperately need to express that's a link. And yes, stuff with swear words in it. And I like swearing, I do, but YouTube expects that most people don't, so it puts them in the held for review folder. So often, I would say in 95% of the cases, when people think I've hidden their comment, YouTube has done it for me because you read it in a way that YouTube doesn't like. Yeah, it's not great, but it is what it is. That being said, yes, I am not here to argue with shit cunts in my comments. I'm just not. I am here to make videos that I enjoy and express myself in this way. The comments are great for when we all want to discuss things constructively, and they're excellent for when I've fucked something up in one of my videos and someone points it out. Perfect example, in that Emerson review, I said the washers were wrong. So someone says, they correct me, isn't it this? Oh shit man, yeah it is. Pinned to the top. I'm not adverse to criticism or being wrong. It's just, when you post something, you must know you're being a bit of a dick. Like, that's when I'll pick up. I think that person knew he was being a bit of a dick. His mission was to, I guess, get my attention, probably feel a little bit, you know, get a slight bump down from his comment. Mission accomplished for him. Unfortunately, as the old saying goes, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The prize for your successful mission is that I'll probably hide you on my channel. So that's how it goes. I don't know how much simpler it is. It's like in real life. If you're someone that no one likes dealing with because you're unpleasant, no one will want to sit with you at lunchtime at school. But if you're nice, then usually someone will come up and say hello. It's that just on the internet. The internet is still just people, and when we're given a bit of control over our little places on the internet, we generally kind of run them like we run our lives. I wouldn't let you into my house if you smelt like BO. and you didn't look like you'd had a shower, so I won't let you into my comments if it looks like you can't fucking play nice. So that's kind of how it goes. If you don't like that, then go and watch another channel is, I guess, the best advice that I could give you. But I'd say my list of absolutely blocked people is probably, out of the several thousand people who commented probably this month, is maybe 20 people. So that's that. And of that list, about 90% of them are all from the Basil review video. They're all weird units from the cat community who couldn't help but tell me that he was obese, that I should have adopted him, and all this other sanctimonious bullshit. So most of them got the ass. So yeah, I think that's covered everything. EDC, pocket clips, what's going on, where I'm going in the future. Complete video. Bye-bye.